Alright lads, so today we are finally getting around to updating the tier list that we did start back in January of 2022. It's only been a couple months since then, and we have a lot of characters to rank, a lot of changes to go over to, maximize this tier list to make sure it's as accurate as possible, and I hope you lads do enjoy this video. If again, you have any disagreements with the placements of the characters, maybe I undervalued someone, maybe I overvalued someone, do let me know in the comments below, and we can fix that next time we update the tier list. And speaking of updating the tier list, I plan to next update said tier list August 5th. Right after we get the anniversary characters. So look forward to that. Definitely subscribe if you are new to the channel because we are going to be uploading Bleach source content daily. With that said, let's start talking about this month's tier list. Now what you will notice again if you are new to the channel is that we are ranking the characters by attribute because it's a lot easier. If we had every character in the same tier list, it would be way too convoluted and you won't be able to make any sense of it. So if you want to skip to a certain attribute, look at the timeline. They are labeled down below. For starters though, we are going to be looking at the heart tier list, and we did make a few changes compared to the last tier list, right? More specifically in A and S tier. B, C, and D didn't see any type of changes. They are the exact same. But A tier, we did move up and down a few characters. One of the bigger examples would be someone like Soifon and Senjumaru, and also Chad. These three characters I think are actually very valuable, mainly for guild quests and also inheritance trials. Chad is a character that you will use for guild quests if you have him, and that's really about it. Unfortunately, he does lack guard break, which is stopping him from being an S tier character. If he did have guard break, yeah, easily S tier character. Senjumaru is a character that a lot of people wanted to be higher, mainly in S tier, due to the fact that she does have the increased chance of inflicting a status, and it's great. It's great for IT when there are rank killers, which is actually going on right now. However, the thing that's stopping her from being S tier, in my opinion, is the fact that she doesn't have any devastation, and she doesn't really have anything to make up for it for the most part. Like, sure, she does 40% extra damage to lacerated enemies, but her SA2 doesn't inflict lacerate, and also the devastation really kills the kind of hype for this character, in my opinion, when used in inheritance trials. If you are trying to main with Senjumaru as a host in co-op content, you might have to have a 5-5, because if you don't, you're not really going to be nuking through multiple waves, and that's really holding her back. But even having said that, she's still a great character, and still almost pushing S tier. I'd say her and the Soifon, who I did move up once more, are very close to being S tier characters. It really depends on how you look at it. I did originally have them at S tier beforehand, but after a few discussions, I did move them down just to the top of A tier. Just to the top of A tier. And speaking of the other character, Soifon, again, very good Nad character, doesn't need guard break when she has killer advantage, which is a ranker killer. They don't have any melee guard enemies, so she's actually really good against a ranker content, and she's really quick too with her damage output. She has 4 flash steps, she has a boost with a vortex, and the boost does transform her, so she does even more damage, and she herself has long reach. So again, once more, I was very tempted to put her in S tier. You can basically look at her as an S tier character, right? It really depends on how you look at it. If she has killer, boom, S tier. If she doesn't, top of A, I think, is a fair spot. With that said though, that was basically all the changes that we did make for the heart tier list. So now let's start talking about the new characters. And the first new character that did come out this year was the Aaroniero, a character that was designed for the arena game mode and really does excel in said game mode. Unfortunately for everywhere else, she is kind of a bit mediocre. Even having said that, she's still an A tier character in my opinion, due to the fact that she does have a pretty good damage output. She is ranged and she is a Nad character, so she has that added survivability. She can do damage from afar. Unfortunately though, she does have a Soripa killer with no guard break, and ranged Soripas have to break guard a lot. There's a lot of enemies that are Soripas that are ranged and have ranged guard break, and it means that if you are using a character like this, you kind of have to sit there and use your strong attacks to break guard, and the SA1 doesn't even do a good job at breaking guard, so she's kind of a hassle to play for single player content, and that's why I put her right above Izuru, because Izuru is basically a similar character to a certain extent. He's also ranged, he doesn't have guard break, and he has to use strong attacks to break their guard, which is classed as a melee attack, and therefore he doesn't have an easy time breaking guard. Nelio does have an easier time, but again, nothing too amazing. She's great in arena, which is fine, that's the most she was designed for, but for PvE content, she's just there, really. She's nothing too special. As for the other characters though, we have 2 other characters in S tier, that being Findor and also the Momo, arena character. Essentially, all 3 of the characters are arena characters, funny enough. So, Findor originally was above, around here, this position, because I do think he is better than Grimmjow, and Grimmjow was rated a tad bit high, so I did also move Grimmjow down, mainly due to the fact that he is a melee Nad character, and what you will notice in this tier list is that if you are a melee Nad character, you're very limited on where you can be used. In co-op content, it's very hard to use them because they struggle. They have to get up close and personal, they have to use their Nad string, and a lot of times they can be a hassle to play with. And that's exactly seen with this Grimmjow. He's great in single player content, he's great in guild quests and epic raids, for example, but when you take him into co-op content, Yeah, probably don't. And that's why I did put Findor a tad bit higher. Findor does have 20% less bruiser than Grimmjow. Grimmjow does hit harder, but Findor being a ranged character with stat elements, that being slow, while not the best stat element, does make him a bit more usable in co-op content if you do want to use someone like that. And he also does have guard break too, which is why he is in the S tier and higher than Neliel. Neliel doesn't have guard break, so she's A tier. The Findor does have guard break. The only reason why he isn't higher compared to Misaki and Tokinada, for example, is because he doesn't have any, you know, high damage output. 20% bruiser is good enough, but it's nothing compared to the other characters nested, which is why he is near the bottom tier. Additionally, I forgot to mention, we did move up Shuhei. His value for his Soul Bomb is very good in Guild Quest Epic Raise, and that's why I think he is still an S tier character. The other new character in S tier is going to be the Momo, which again, you will notice a lot of the characters that did come out this year, for some reason, have really good strong attacks and really good kits, but for some reason are lacking the damage, and Momo is an example of that. She doesn't have any Berserker, which if you don't know, is a strong attack damage increase. Luckily for her though, she does have a 20% full stam, which is nice because it also goes to her Soul Bomb damage, and it means, personally, I think I'd rather have 20% full stam instead of any, like, 20% Berserker, but obviously her lacking Berserker does suck just a tad bit. But even having said that, she is a very good character that I think is kind of slept upon because it's Momo and it was an arena character that's also premium. But overall, if you actually look what the character can do, she's actually really good. Good SA1, that being a 3000 length beam forward, SA2 is a distant AoE, and her SA3 is a vacuum type of vortex. It's probably the worst part about her kit, but it doesn't really ruin her. Additionally, the most important part about this character is that SA2 does provide a team heal and also a shield, a 5-hit barrier for herself and a 3-hit barrier for her teammates, which I think is actually very valuable. So while she might be a character that doesn't do insane damage, she does have insane survivability for you and your teammates, which I can definitely appreciate. If you are doing something like Ultra IT, for example, especially when there are rank enemies like there are right now, having one Momo in your team is great. It just means everyone can stay alive and pretty much not going to get hit. So Momo, I think, is actually pretty good. And I didn't expect it to be like top 6, but yeah, she's not bad. Obviously, her is kind of slacking a tad bit. The SS characters are the main characters that everyone uses, but yeah, I think Momo will get eventually moved down in the future when we get more better characters, but Momo's definitely holding a spot as a top 10 heart character. And then as you can see here in SS tier, we have the brand new Safui Yoruichi, the Beyond Bankai version. This character, absolutely insane. And she's a character that, again, was kind of slept upon because many Aizen exist. Everyone's just fanboying over Aizen that they don't even want to look at how good Yoruichi actually is. And I do believe Yoruichi surprised everyone when she did come out, because it's one thing looking at a character on paper, but actually playing with the character, it was shocking how insane this character actually is. Having 4 flash steps because she is a Yoruichi increases the mobility of this character, maybe get her to T15 and give her long stride. She is speeding through the entire map. Having a 40% Berserker with a 20% full stam is already great to begin with, and then she also has, when inflicting a status augment, she gets an 80% stat boost to her spiritual pressure for 10 seconds. And the great thing about that is that she has element reversal, so when you do get inflicted by a status augment, you reflect it back, heal back up your full HP, which has taken full advantage of that 20% full stam link. Additionally, because you are reversing the status augment, you are also inflicting a status augment and getting that stat boost, so you can actually force yourself to guarantee to get that stat boost. And the most important part about this character is that she does have Disable on. She has an increased chance of inflicting a status augment against every mind enemy. And of course, you're only going to pretty much use her against mind enemies, so she's one of the hardest hitting characters in the game. I would say the hardest hitting character in the game. Insane survivability with the status augment reversal, and also a 20% heal for your entire team every time you into another map. So insane mobility, insane damage, the hardest hitting character in the game, and also insane survivability. You cannot go wrong with this character. I would have put her above Aizen, but she doesn't have a better strong attack kit than Aizen. Aizen does have the superior SA1 and SA2, and they both have the same SA3. Yoruichi has a short beam SA1 and a lunge SA2, which isn't the greatest. I feel like if she didn't have the skills that she did have, she'd be an A tier character, but she is really, really fun. My favorite character in the game right now, maybe top 2 up there with Bretsu, but she's really powerful and definitely deserves the SS tier. In my opinion, way better than Nini. Nini really does need to have killer, and I'm kind of contemplating moving her down just a tad bit, but I still think Nini is actually really good to have, especially because she is a character designed for inheritance trials. She she has 2 killers, and when you do have killer, you have that increased status on chance. So a lot of times you are playing it safe, you're inflicting weakening, but I do believe as months do go by, Nini and potentially Noelle, but mainly Nini might just move down to the top of A. But right now I do believe she's still an SS character, but right at the bottom of SS. These 2 characters are definitely a tad bit higher than this character, but I don't want to make like another SSS tier. I think they're all very good characters. Aizen, of course, if you don't know, Drain, Weakening, best SA2 in the game. You pretty much can auto hard content with Aizen. He has insane range, insane damage too. Aizen's also really good, and we talked about him more intensively in the last video. But that's basically the hot tiers. Again, for those wondering, Misaki and Tokinada, very good NAD characters with guard break. Misaki has more survivability. They both provide the team with the boost. Apache, really good damage output, heals on assault bomb, weakens defense, good strong attacks. Shuhei, again, good strong attacks, lowers their defense on their soul bomb. Chojuro, just very good strong attacks, good damage output. Unfortunately, doesn't have the most ideal killer, but Captain is still very good. Overall, you don't see anyone use Chojuro, but he still definitely holds up. Nothing really too bad. Zangetsu is pretty much like the only character in S tier that is an SP-based character and doesn't have Havoc. But what he does make up for it is really good support and damage for your entire team. He does buff the entire team's strong attack damage by 20% if you are a Heart Soriper. And as you can see in SS tier, 2 of them are Heart Soripers. So having one Zangetsu in your team alongside with 3 Yoruichis or 3 Aizens, it's just making them better. So I do believe he is still an S tier character. With that said, that was the Heart tier list. Now let's move on to the next one, which is going to be power characters. So the power attribute is still kind of stacked. We did get a lot of new characters this month, mainly for the power attribute. And what you will notice is that most of them just got thrown into S tier. So let's talk about the changes firstly. D tier and C tier stayed the exact same. I did move up Zyapro mainly because he is useful in Guild Quest now, and I believe I also had him like top of D tier. He's not that bad. He's bad, but like not that bad. He's a B tier character in my opinion. B tier also stayed the exact same. We did move up the Okiura and also the tag team Yamamoto. Their resurrections did happen in the last 3 or so months, and it does make them better. Yamamoto and Okiura both picked up recharge, which make them solid. It makes them usable. Doesn't make them anything OP, but it makes them usable. This is a good example of good resurrections that make old characters better, but not, you know, S tier better. Additionally, with that, we did move up Nanao. I believe she was in A tier last time. Now she's in S tier, and we did move up the placements for these 2 particular characters, Toshiro and also Hikone. So let me explain Nanao's placement, because I do want to make sure you are aware why she is here. Now, Nanao is a individually a B tier character, but when used properly in a team that know what they're doing, S tier. Honestly, just like Zangetsu, but more so with this Nanao, you would rather have one Nanao on your team than a 4th Kisuke, a 4th Rukia, or a 4th Ichigo. Nanao is very, very good for the main reason because she does buff power attribute Soripers. 3 of them are in SS tier. She buffs their strong attack damage by 20%. She also has a team boost, and she also has a barrier on her soul bomb. The barrier is kind of like nothing too special, but it is just an added bonus. She's a very good support. She also has good strong attack and also hits pretty hard too. So she's a really good support. When used properly, S tier character. When not, A B tier. Other than that though, let's talk about the new characters in the game. So none of them unfortunately were able to rival the SS tier characters. The main 4 characters that did come out this month was the Soifon, Rangaku, Haribel, and also Aizen. So Aizen is here because, again, Naj character with guard break, also has weaken and everything, does a lot of damage in Guild Quest. Even outside of Guild Quest, he can do a lot of damage. Again, the thing with Aizen, unfortunately, is that he is being held back by the fact that he is melee-based, and you can't really use him in co-op content, for example. Doesn't have that good survivability. But his damage output, his Vortex is definitely really saving him for, like, normal PvE content. You can use that Vortex and just keep yourself safe. Some good crowd control for the most part. But Aizen's basically in S tier for his high damage output. He's a net character with guard break. You can use him in single player content. You can use him anywhere but co-op content, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. For Halibo, really good kit, really good strong attacks, best SA3 in the game, good SA2 lunge, good SA1-2, very good kit, and also very good skills. Unfortunately, just like the Momo, for example, she lacks a high damage output. She only has a 20% Berserker, which really is, again, weird. If she was higher, if she had a higher Berserker value, and maybe even a better killer, I would place her higher. But unfortunately, she doesn't. She has a 20% Berserker with a Quincy killer, which isn't really ideal. But having said that, she still does respectable damage. You know, 20% is low in today's meta, but there's still some good characters out there that do have 20% Berserker, like, you know, these 2 characters. I think they have like 40. I think Shinji is pushing 40, but, you know, he still has 20% Berserker and still definitely usable, and someone I still consider an S tier character. So having the low Berserker isn't the end of the world. She does make up for it with the strong attacks that she does have. I just can't put her any higher than, like, the bottom of S because, yeah, just low Berserker, it kind of sucks just a tad bit. Now, for Rangaku, she is kind of the opposite of the Halibel. She has really good damage, 40% Berserker with a 20% full stam, with a 20% team heal for your entire team every time you move into another room, taking full advantage of that full stamina damage, and also has an increased chance of inflicting a status summon. She has paralysis on every attack, which is great, and most importantly, she does have a team revive when you do die after she uses a soul bomb. So she's a great support character, and also someone that is capable of doing damage and very good for inheritance trials. It's just very unfortunate that her strong attacks are very linear. It's very, very linear. Now, Rangaku is someone that, again, not a lot of people do talk about, mainly due to the fact that 3 of the SS tier characters do have a rank killer. So, of course, you're rather going to use them over Rangaku, but Rangaku's still good to have, and individually as a character, she is still good. She's just held back by a SA1 and 2. The SA2 is normally an SA1 for a lot of characters, a 3000 length beam forward, and an SA1 is pretty much like one of the worst strength ones you can have in the game. Having said that, though, when you do hit enemies, you are doing a lot of damage, and you are going to be inflicting status summons. And also, you're providing good support for your entire team. And that's why I put an S tier. I was on the line of putting an A tier, but I was like, you know what, the support she brings for your entire team is actually really good. And even though she might not be doing the most insane damage because she's very linear in her attacks, she is still supporting the team to a certain extent that I think she is warranting an S tier character. Of course, as the months do go by, she's very likely to drop down to A tier, as with, you know, most of these characters here, really, but she still holds herself right now in today's age. And as for the last character that did get introduced for the power attribute, we have Soifon. Now, Soifon is being held back, just like a lot of our characters we talked about today, by being a melee Nad character. That is holding her back, in my opinion, because if she was ranged, she would have been SS tier, but unfortunately she is not. Now again, as I mentioned with Aizen and Grimmjow, for example, when it comes to mini-Nad characters, you're very unlikely to use them in co-op content. And Soifon, you can use in co-op content, mainly due to the fact that she is a Soifon, she has 4 flash steps, so more mobility, and most importantly, her SA2 provides a team boost and a barrier for your entire team. A 5-hit barrier for yourself, which is great because again, you have to get up close and personal, and a 3-hit barrier for your teammates. So even though she might not be doing insane damage for co-op content, clearing fast, for example, she can keep up, and she will be providing that team with the boost and also the barrier. She does have 12% built-in recharge, which is nice. It allows the boost to come back faster, and she herself does have a good damage output with the fact that she can inflict paralysis and also poison, which is a pretty nasty combo, because if you use that soul bomb against a boss that just spawns in, you're paralyzing them for like 7 or so seconds, allowing your team to do a lot of damage, and then also you're poisoning them too, so it chips at the HP. I really like this character. I feel like right now Soifon is the best melee Nad character in the game, but again, still being held back by the fact that she is a melee character, so she can't really auto hard content like the range characters actually can. But she is still definitely someone that is worth having, especially in Guild Quest, where she is currently the only melee no affiliation killer to have a boost, and that's obviously adding to the valuability of this character. Just a quick talk about these two characters, because I didn't actually mention them just yet. They got pushed up mainly due to inheritance trials. They don't have the problem that Sanjumaru has. They can inflict status damage on everything and also can do a lot of damage. Originally, they were placed below these 3 characters, like the power trio. If you don't know about these 3 characters, they have like the exact same kit. One just gets better than the other. Like Shinji does more damage, and then you do more damage, but don't inflict any status summons. So you could actually make a case for Lie being a tad bit worse, because status summons are something that is important, but I still think it goes like this. When it comes to comparing these 2 characters to these 3, they do have the better SA2, but for IT, I definitely prefer the strong attack they have, especially when it almost guarantees that you do inflict the status summon, which is great. They're very good characters and great for farming IT. And to quickly go over the SS tier character, because I'm sure you're wondering, in case you didn't watch the last tiers video, these 4 characters are absolutely broken. Now, Rukia is basically second place for power. These 3 are basically tied for first place. And depending on who you do ask, the answer on who is better of these 3 will literally vary. Like, some would say it's like this, some would say it's like this, and some would even go ahead and say it's like this. In my opinion, it is like this for me. Now, let me quickly talk about Rukia. Rukia, very good stun attacks. Good lunge, SA1. Good AoE distant, SA2. Good SA3. Very good range. Very good damage output with the 60% Berserker with the extra damage to frozen enemies. That works very well with the fact that she does have a Bankai button that increases the damage that she does do, and also for 10 seconds while in that Bankai form, you are going to be having an extra 10% chance per hit of inflicting a status summon, which is very, very good. I use her in Guild Quest, and now she can be used in full weeks of Guild Quest. You can use an IT whenever you can inflict freeze. She's a really good and safe character. High damage output, good survivability thanks to the fact that she is immune immune to weakening and also freeze, and she also does have a 20% heal every time you into another room. Rukia is really, really good. The only thing that's stopping her from being higher than these three, in my opinion, is the fact that she doesn't really have Marauder. Now, Kisuke doesn't have Marauder, but Kisuke does also have very high damage output, thanks to the fact that when you do inflict a stat element, you do get that 80% stat boost to your spiritual pressure, just like Yoruichi. But the crazy thing about Kisuke is that he has a very good SA2 that provides the best crowd control you can ask for. That SA2 being a 960 into a tracking vortex like Aizen and Byakuya, the anniversary characters, is really, really powerful. For Kisuke, you're breezing through content, almost guaranteed to inflict a stat element. He himself is actually immune to all stat elements, which I absolutely adore, because you can take him into any content. Even if he doesn't have Killer, it doesn't matter. You're providing great crowd control, great damage output, and you're always going to be inflicting stat elements. Speaking of the stat elements, he does inflict Lacerate and Paralysis, which is definitely a deadly combo. He is by far one of the more fun characters to play when it comes to the power attribute, and someone that is just really, really safe. Who isn't really safe though, and it is a reason for me to potentially go like this, but Ichigo doesn't have great survivability. No built-in paralysis immunity or any type of immunities. No way to heal yourself, which does suck as we do go by, you know, the months and the years as he does get older. But the great thing about Ichigo is his clear time, the power, good SA1, that being a lunge, SA2 being a 960 in front of him, and its SA3 being a charged strong attack, a distant AoE charged strong attack. And that allows you to clear content quick and safely because you're just doing so much damage. The 60% Berserker, with the fact that he has two killers being Aranka and Hollow, means you can use his character in a lot of different places. Definitely someone that, even potentially being 2 years of age by the time we next update the tier list, is still someone that is really, really powerful and worth investing in the future because you can use him almost everywhere. You can use him in 4 weeks of guild quests. He's still one of the better characters for the guild quests and just excels in anything you put him against. And then lastly for Bruno, the reason why he is an SS tier is again two killers, that being Soriba and Aranka. He has Sharpshooter, he has a good damage output, he has weakening on over attacks plus bombardment, which is great for guild quests. If you see my guild quest videos, you can clear guild quests very, very fast if you do dupe him out. He's a very safe character to use in Soriba content because he does have that 50% chance to dodge Soribas, and you also do have Last Ditch, so if you do die, then boom, you can just revive. Just like Ichigo, he is immune to nothing, which does suck, but again, the damage output, the way this character can clear content, the stuff you can do in your account is just unmatched compared to any other character in the tier list, in my opinion. These three characters, again, are basically tied for first place, with Rukia as a close second. And these four characters are definitely someone that you do want to get in your account eventually because they're very fun to play. And with that said, that was basically the power tier list. So now let's move over to the next one, which is going to be Speed. And Speed did see a pretty decent change, more so with changes because the only new character in the last 3 months for the Speed attribute, which really does suck because Speed definitely needs the help, is Noge. And Noge is just like an 80 character. Noge lacks Havoc. He has a decent damage output, good strong attacks, but no Havoc. I wouldn't really want to put you in S tier. And that's really about it. Nage is just an okay character. Now, talking about the changes, what exactly has changed in the last 3 or so months? For starters, I moved up Barugan and also Ruroka. I definitely undervalued them. I put them in C tier last time. I do think they are, at the very least, B tier characters. Barugan is not that bad, and Ruroka is a good Gilchrist character for the boost. She is also going to be receiving a resurrection potentially sometime in 2 months, so she might get pushed up to A tier if she gets a good enough resurrection. For A tier, I had a lot of characters about this Ichigo being potentially moved to S tier, and I would agree, but we have to wait, because if you don't know, Ichigo is still bugged. They have not fixed him. Technically, I should move him down to B tier, because his skill, the increased chance to inflict stat summon, is not currently working. So, like, is he an A tier character? I'm gonna leave him A tier for the time being. If he gets his skill fixed and he actually has an increased chance of inflicting a stat summon, which is weakening and burn, then maybe I'll move him up. But for now, for the time being, when he's not working as intended, he's kind of just an average character. For S tier, we did move up a few characters. I did get a lot of comments about moving up these characters, and I definitely do agree. Essentially, last time we didn't have Swimsuretsu, Dark Rukia, Grimjow, and Bambietta. They were the top of A tier. I moved them up mainly because S tier was looking a bit empty. And do keep in mind, like, the Speed tier list is, like, really lackluster in a sense because a lot of these characters are still very old and we really need a new powerful character. While yes, these 3 SS tier characters are great, they're more so near the bottom of SS tier. Like, if we were to rank all the SS tier characters, I would say some of these are near the bottom compared to, you know, the other attributes. The other attributes have way better characters, and I do believe within the next 3 or so months, when we next update the tier list, there will be a new character to take the top SS place, because Speed really does need it, and I can see Kayla fulfilling that, potentially for the 7th anniversary. But for S tier, you have Bambietta. Again, good strong attack damage output, good strong attacks overall, not really a bad character by any means. Grimmjow, good damage output, good strong attacks, that's really about it. Does lack a tad bit in survivability, but still good enough regardless. Basby, good damage output, good strong attacks, and also does have an increased chance of inflicted status element, which I definitely do appreciate. And the same thing can be said for Rukia. Rukia has an increased chance of inflicted status element, so I think she is pretty much warranted to be an S tier character. She herself also does have ignore range resistance, which makes her more useful in extreme co-op, and you could potentially use her in 2 weeks of guild quests. Retsu, very good damage dealer, good strong attacks overall, not the best kit, but still good enough to be an S tier character, and it's also providing the team with a team revive, which I definitely do appreciate. White Ichigo, good damage output, being a NAD character with guard break flurry, can't go wrong with that. Good outside of guild quests, don't really recommend using him in co-op content, but you can get away with it thanks to his kit. You kind of can do it, but again, I don't really recommend it. And then these two are just very solid SP characters that also buff Byakuya, which is great. I love these trio right here. Tenjiro, Ishin, and Byakuya is a very powerful trio in my opinion. They both have good strong attacks, good survivability, good damage overall. Now for SS tier, let's talk about it, right? The most important 3 characters. So Noelle is high, again, because I do like her kit, because once more, when Noelle does inflict the status element, she does get 80% stat boost to her SP, which is great. It allows her to hit very, very hard. She right now at max transcendence. If you have her at max transcendence, she is the best nuker in the entire game. So if you watch guild quest videos, she does what no other character can do, and that is nuke through 5 waves of guild quest very, very easy. She is powerful on that sword bomb. She's providing a team revive on the sword bomb, which is great. She has decently good strong attacks. SA1 and 2 is great in my opinion. SA1 is very lackluster, but her kit does work well together, especially when she does have killer. And just like Nini, she has 2 killers, Hollow Killer and also no affiliation. And that allows her to be useful in 2 months of potential IT, right? When you have more killers, there's more likely a chance where you're going to be used. And she is going to be used very often than not, because you have an increased chance of inflicting a status element against both of those killers. You can't really go wrong with this Noelle. I very much do like her. Again, like Nini, if she doesn't have killer, she's like that, basically. But when she does have killer, yeah, she's very, very good. For Byakuya, very good SA2. Definitely being hard carried by the SA2. His SA2 is the main thing about him, that being the 960 into the tracking vortex, like Kisuke, like Aizen. It's very, very good crowd control. And overall, he has a good damage output with a 40% Berserker, with Bombardment, and most importantly, 2 killers. That's why he's in SS tier, right? When you have 2 killers and you can do what he does, you're usable in basically any speed type of content. I use this character a lot, and I enjoy using him. He's very, very fun to play. Definitely going down just a tad bit with no stat summons in my opinion. I feel like, again, he can easily be replaced by a new character once they get a good kit and good strong attack damage. But Byakuya is still a very solid character overall. You can use him in a lot of content, which is why he is an SS tier in my opinion. For Jujiro, he is basically the best NAD character in the game. Auto good. You can put him in anything and he's going to auto hit. With the fact that he has a boost and a barrier, a +5 for himself, +3 for your teammates, the fact that he's a ranged NAD character with guard break is already beautiful to begin with, but then he also inflicts drain on all of attacks, which allows him, besides SA2, which allows him to just stay alive. Just stay alive. This guy can't die. He's absolutely insane. I auto IT content all the time with Jushiro. He's amazing. By far the best NAD character, and I'm very happy to see that it's Jushiro getting this treatment, because Jushiro doesn't have a good track record of having good characters, and this one is someone that is worthy of a powerful Jushiro. Safui Jushiro is an amazing NAD character. Some would argue for him to be the best speed character in the game, but I feel like this is definitely a good placement. With that said though, that was the tier list for the speed attribute. Now let's move over to Mind. And Mind did see a pretty decent amount of character that came out this month. So D tier stayed the same, C tier also stayed the same, B tier also stayed the same, but again, once more, I do want to just emphasize Don Kanoji. Don Kanoji is really fun to play with, and he has very good skills that make him useful in co-op content. I'm very inclined to put him at the bottom of A, but unfortunately the strong attacks that he does have, the fact that he does have a low berserker really does suck. But he does have an increased chance of inflicting a stat summon against 2 killers. He has 2 killers himself. He's very good in epic raids, can do a decent amount of damage, but in my opinion, it really does require some dupes to make him way more usable. For A tier, we did move down 2 characters from S, that being Koga and the Shinji. Very good characters overall. I feel like they're just more suited in A tier. Koga got moved down because he lacks Berserker, which really does suck in my opinion. If you have him 1 out of 5, you're probably better off using someone that has like a 40% Berserker, 60% or even higher. As for the S tier, we did make a few adjustments too. We did move up Shinsui to just above the Shinji. Both of them are basically intertwined to a certain extent. You could say Shinji's better, you could say Shinsui's better. I went with Shinsui just because he is a lot safer. I don't like his SA2. It does provide good crowd control, but it is still lackluster compared to Aizen's and Byakuya's and Kisuke's SA2. If you are new to the game and don't know what I'm talking about, he has the second part to Aizen's Strong Attack 2, which is the Tracking Vortex, but unfortunately he does lack the 960 SA2. If he did have that, boom, SS tier. Unfortunately not, which is why I put him at the top of S. So I think he's a tad bit better than Shinji. Definitely a safer to use character. We did move up Giriko, mainly due to the fact that we now know this skill, what he does in more damage in co-op content, has been improved upon because you can use an epic raid and also arena. I think that's actually very valuable in my opinion. It was always like that, but it was a bug and we didn't know that at the time. So it makes him just better in more content, which I definitely appreciate. And then we also did move up Yoruichi Soifon because they are worth it. They have good damage output, good strong attacks, and also have 2 killers. Can't go wrong with them. In fact, I'm actually going to do this. There we go, like that. So now, let's talk about the new characters that came out this year. So looking at A tier, you can see Toshiro. Now, Toshiro I really wanted to put in S tier, but I think A tier suits him best. He has a good strong attack 2, good strong attack 3, semi-decent strong attack 1, and that's really about it. He doesn't have a high berserker value, but I do want to emphasize one thing for those that did pull him. Don't be discouraged from his placement, because even though yes, he isn't a traditional good character, he has a lot of value for something like epic raids because he does have a link swap potion and also a droplet increase, with the fact that his sword bomb does also lower defense by 80%, just like Don Kanoji and just like Bankai Shuei. This makes him one of the better farmable characters for epic raid even when he isn't a bonus. So while he's not the greatest character, in the content you want to use him in, epic raids, he is very valuable to have in my opinion, and I kind of wish I had him, but everywhere else, yeah, just okay. For our new S tier candidates, we have someone like Byakuya, the one that came out for the mid-month of January. Very good damage output, just very similar to someone like Aizen, the White Day version that we also put in S rank. Good SA2, provides some good crowd control, good damage output, also has Marauder, which increases the usability in Guild Quest and Extreme Cop, for example, and that's really about it. Unfortunately, he's a melee character, he does have Guard Break, he does have a high damage output, but he can't really be higher than that, compared to these 2 NAD characters, who also have Guard Break, but they are ranged, so they're way more usable in my opinion. So Byakuya is just, yeah, bottom of S tier, definitely warrants it, but could have been better. If he was ranged, you know, we were up here. Unfortunately not. Other than that, though, we have our 2 new characters, that being Okiura and Rukia. Now, again, very similar to the Shinji and Shinsui, you can make a case for, like, this. You could put Rukia above Okiura. It really depends on how you look at it. So, essentially, both of these characters are very, very powerful characters. So, they're both mined. They both are NAD-based. They both have Flurry, Guard Break, ranged, beautiful, already S tier character, but then they have other things that make them very, very unique. So in Rukia's case, she has status element reversal, so when you do get inflicted by a status element, you do reflect it back to the enemy, and also heal back up to potentially full HP. Very much do like that, and most importantly, the unique thing about Rukia is that she does have an SA2 boost, which provides a 42% increase to your attack, focus, and defense, which is very good because she has the booster skill. Normally, a boost will only provide a 33% attack, focus, and defense boost, so she has a 42%, which is absolutely insane. It allows your team to do a lot of damage, and having one Rukia in your team is very, very good, and you know, in that sense, that value that she has to the team, you could make a case for her being S tier. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put her above Okiura. In fact, I've actually seen a lot of people use this Rukia on Guild Quest where you're not supposed to use her in, because that extra 9% does go hard. Like, it's actually really powerful, and if you get dupes of her because she can hit hard herself, even without killing in Guild Quest, she can perform quite well. So I think Rukia is actually a really good character, and you know, in 3 months' time, I might put Oak above her, but we have to wait and see. And the reason why I do say that is because Okiura does inflict Drain, and Drain, just like Jushiro, for example, allows him to auto some of the harder content in the game, and allows him to be one of the best NAD characters in the game, but one of the best autos in the game. Now, for Okiura's case, we don't know how well he can auto, because he can't currently inflict Drain in IT. Inheritance Trial is the hardest content in the game right now, at least for co-op content. Those enemies are currently immune to Drain, and that means, you know, you can't inflict Drain, you can't heal back up your full HP. So we can't fully test out how powerful Okiura is, but regardless of that, very good for Guild Quest. He is a Guild Quest character. Flurry, Guard Break, ranged, high damage output, gets even more insane when you inflict a status element. So you know what, I keep going back and forth. Again, it's like it can go either way. In this case, Okiura has an insane damage output. He already has an insane damage output to begin with, but then when you do inflict the status element, you get even more attack. An 80% boost to your attack stat is absolutely gas. Just like Noel with the SP stat, he has it for attack stat, and it makes him hit very, very hard. He can clear Guild Quest by himself, he can clear Epic Raids by himself, he can also be a main lead in Guild Quest because he does have a debuff effect on his soul bomb. Just like Don Kanoji, Bankai Shui, and his Toshiro, it allows him to be a really powerful Nad character as a side or a main. You can't go wrong with both of them. Rukia and Aaroniero are really pushing what an S tier character can actually look like. And with that said, let's really talk about the SS tier characters. Again, both of them are very solid. They both have the exact same strong attacks, but the only difference is that she has a shorter cooldown on her SA2 because Ichigo does provide a team boost. So 3000 length beam, 960 distant AoE 2, and also a 1200 full screen. Very, very good. They both have 2 killers. Noelle has Soriba and no affiliation, and Ichigo also has Soriba and Captain. They both hit very hard thanks to Noelle's 80% Berserker, and Ichigo has a 60% Berserker. Ichigo, on the other hand, is immune to weakening and paralysis, which does provide some good survivability, and most importantly, he does have a built-in DR, which again just allows him to tank a tad bit harder. Ichigo also does have Bombardment, and he's a very good character for now 4 weeks of Guild Quest, and Noelle can also potentially be used for 4 weeks of Guild Quest, but I would say mainly 2. So that's why these two characters definitely hold the SS tier. Very good damage output, good survivability, more so with the Ichigo than the Noelle, but you can't go wrong with their strong attacks. Very fun characters to play around and clear content very, very quick. And then lastly, we have the technique tiers, which again also did see a few changes. D tier stayed the same, C tier stayed the same, B tier also did stay the same, and I believe A tier also stayed the same. But we did move up a few characters, more so Nini. I did get a lot of comments saying Nini does deserve to be a tad bit higher. In fact, I also did move up Senna. Senna was in B tier last time. She's an A tier character. So yeah, Nini is a character with 2 killers, good strong attacks, not the best strong attack kit, but still good enough with the damage output that she does have. She's also providing team with some good survivability with the shield, so she's not too bad. I think she warrants like the bottom of S tier. Now, looking at the new characters, let's talk about them, because we did get a few characters. And again, as you saw throughout the entire tier list, there's not that many bad characters coming out this year. They're either A or above. So in this case, the first new character in the game is the Bankai Renji. Now, Renji unfortunately lacks Havoc. And if he did have Havoc, I might have put him in SS tier, in my opinion. He is very, very good for a premium mid-month character. Just so you know, like, mostly every character here is either arena-based or an end-of-month character. So to have Renji this high is actually pretty cool. So Renji, good SA1. It's a Vacuum Vortex, normally used as an SA2, good SA1. SA2 is a 3000 beam. Normally an SA1, but again, his SA1 is actually pretty good to make up for that, and his SA3 is a full screen. But where this character gets insane is the fact that he does have the Bankai button. So again, just like Rukia, the only 2 characters in the game to have right now, when you press that Bankai button, you transform into your Bankai state for 20 seconds, you're doing even more damage, and for 10 seconds while in that transform state, which does refresh every 30 seconds, you have an increased chance of inflicting a stat augment. That's good for any IT because he does have Captain Killer, and it means you can use him in anything. Like it doesn't matter about Killer, Soripa, Aranka, Hollow, no affiliation, don't matter. You can use this character because he also has an insane damage output thanks to his 30% full stamina damage soul trait. Very good link, and it also goes to himself with the added Berserker that he does have. It just allows him to hit very, very hard, and he can easily inflict stat summons. He has a very easy time clearing content, and I think it's actually really cool for Renji to get this type of treatment. The other character in S tier that did come out was the Aaroniero. So Aaroniero, Nad character, ranged, guard break, has the high damage output. That's basically about it. He was more so designed for Guild Quest, and that's why I put Rukia above him, because Rukia does have easy time clearing content for single player content, co-op content, for example. She can inflict stars when she has easy time crowd control. He doesn't provide the greatest crowd control, but he's still good enough. Again, when you're ranged, when you have a high damage output, you're good enough to be an S tier. And then, of course, the most recent character in the game, we have Grimmjow, and Grimmjow, oh, I'm not sure it's a hot take to put him in S tier. I had a lot of people say he should be an SS, and I can definitely see it, but I think he's just missing that extra oomph to be an SS tier, in my opinion. So talking about Grimmjow, I will have a showcase of him potentially coming tomorrow or the next day, or the review for the most part. Grimmjow, high damage output thanks to his Frenzy +2. He also has a 20% increased damage to weakened enemies, and also an additional 20% damage inflicted to status element enemies. And that's for your entire team if you are a Technica Runker. There's not that many characters that can take advantage of it. But essentially, he has Frenzy +2, and he does 40% more damage when you are hitting a weakened enemy, which is great. It allows him to nuke very, very hard. If you see him in co-op content, or even more specifically Epic Raids, this character, SA3, which is a charge strong attack 3, is nuking the boss. He has very, very high damage retention, which is absolutely insane. He's also great for IT because his shrine attacks are actually very good. SA1 being a 3000 length beam with the added width, like this Retsu and 6th anniversary Aizen, and also Shunsui. It's pretty much the best SA1 in the game. SA2 is not the worst shrine attack too. It's a vacuum vortex. It could be better, but it also could have been significantly worse. And then he also again has that charge at shrine attack 3. So very good character overall. Very good damage output. Very safe to play to. I very much do like it. Again, I feel like he's just missing that something extra to be an SSD character. Maybe if he had an increased chance of inflicting a stat summon, maybe if he had some built-in survivability like Last Ditch or maybe Stam Recovery, I would have put him in SS tier. But as it stands right now, he's just an absolute glass cannon. And he hits very, very hard and very, very fun to use. So I think he definitely deserves the top of S tier treatment, just pushing the SS tier. And then, of course, now let's just quickly finish up talking about the last two SS tier characters in the technique attribute. So again, for the most part, depending on who you ask, these two characters can... depending on who you ask, it could change. Like some would say Retsu's better, some would say Ichigo's better. I'm putting Ichigo better because he's more useful in Guild Quest. That's basically about it. For no PvE content, they're basically tied. So Retsu, very good SA1. Again, basically the exact same as Grimmjow's. 3000 length beam, very good width, very good speed at the same time. SA2, again, vacuum vortex. SA3 is a charged strong attack 3, distant AoE, again, just like Grimmjow. They almost have the exact same kit for the most part. A Retsu's benefit is that it is a heal SA3 and a charge one at that. So if you don't charge it, it does like a 20% team heal. If you do charge it, it's a 40% team heal. At the same time, she is hitting ridiculously hard thanks to her Frenzy +2, plus 20% Berserker, plus the fact that when she is at full stamina, which she can easily do thanks to that SA3 and the fact that she has Drain on every single attack, but that third strong attack, which makes sense, it's a heal move anyway, she can just never die. Unless you get one hit, then sure you can die, but she's just non-stop healing herself. It's absolutely insane. The only bad thing about this Retsu is that she isn't immune to anything, which sucks. But again, you make up for that because you just keep healing yourself. You can't die. Insane damage output, second hardest hitting character in the game right now. Very good speed, good strong attacks, and insane survivability. Retsu is a very, very powerful character and someone that you want to have in every technique card lobby. Just one Retsu is enough to keep your entire team alive. It's amazing. And then as for the Ichigo, he has a very high damage output, 60% Berserker, very good SA3, good SA1, good SA2. His SA2 is a 960, and his SA1 is a Vacuum Vortex, which is normally a SA2 on other characters. He has Long Stride with an extra flash step. He has Poise, so he can speed through the entire map. He's immune to every stat summon in the game. Again, very, very good character. Also has two killers, that being Soba and No Affiliation. Also has Weakening plus Bombardment, so you can use them in Guild Quests in 4 weeks of Guild Quests. Very good side lane character, and that's why he's an SST character. Just like Retsu, insane survivability, insane damage output, and just useful in a lot of different content and can clear anything you really put him against. The only reason why he's higher than Retsu is again because he's more usable in Guild Quests. Retsu is mainly just a side character for 1 week of Guild Quests, whereas Ichigo can be used in 4 weeks of Guild Quests and also can nuke very, very hard in Guild Quests. So, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was me breaking down the tier list. Let me know what you guys think about it. Again, if you do have any disagreements with the way I place the characters, we can make some necessary changes August 5th when we next update the tier list. My voice is hurting. I've been talking for 15 minutes. I didn't want the video to be that long, but again, when you're talking about so many characters, it's hard to just go through in under 10 minutes. So if you stuck around, I appreciate it. Hopefully this was able to give you some insight on why I placed the characters where I did, and overall just let you know what characters are good. But again, keep in mind, and I probably should mention at the start of the video, just because a character is ranked A doesn't mean they're bad. For example, Sergeant is an A tier character, but he's very good in Guild Quests. A lot of these characters, because of how different they play, they excel in certain game modes, excel in certain situations. So the main thing is that you want to collect a wide range of characters. Of course, the SST characters are someone that you just want to have, but most importantly, play the characters that you enjoy. Just because I'm saying Retsu is better than Grimmjow doesn't mean that you are going to, play with Retsu more. You might think Grimmjow is significantly more fun, and you play with Grimmjow more than Retsu. For me, Retsu is my favorite character in the game, so I'm glad that she's an SSD character. She definitely does deserve it. But I said though, hope you guys did enjoy the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.